Today I'm breaking down more of Guthrie Trapp's videos, one lick in all 5 positions. So I did a video on this a while ago and I just broke down 5 licks that Guthrie posted on one of his shorts. In this video I'm going to take some of the details he did from his long form video. So we're in the key of G, so we're going to be looking at all the positions of the CAGED system in the key of G. So we've got our E form, our D form, our C form, A form, and then G form. And we're going to be picking up licks in each one of these positions. So let's get into this first lick.
Here's the first part. Here's the second part.
So this first lick is outlining the E form bar chord in position 1. So we're starting on the root, going into the major third. So you want to be looking at your triads. There's my root inversion triad, first inversion, there's a second inversion. We've got our major scale in this position, our arpeggio, and this lick. So we're starting on the root, sliding into the major third, going 3/5 on the B, and then finishing it on the root on the high E 3rd fret. And then back up using the flat 7, back into that 3rd, and then he runs back down it.
Up kind of this major B.B. King style lick. Right, you could finish that phrase out.
You can slide into the 3rd and grab the root on the 5th fret of the D, or you can just grab the root on the low E string on the 3rd fret, it doesn't matter.
Right? Pretty cool. If I wanted to take that up to the next E shape, the C chord, go up to D.
So he does exactly the same now. So you can sort of, if you want to imagine playing over a 12-bar blues, you could get a jam track. So you've got G, C and D, and you can do this exact same thing. So the point across he's trying to get is this, whatever we do here with this chord shape, we can move now to our 4 chord and do exactly the same thing for C. There's G. So this is a great way of practicing if you wanted to do this in a 1-4-5 concept. And then he goes to D.
Back to G.
So he just comes up a whole step from C. Back to C. Back to G. So really slowly we've got G. C. D.
Okay, so they're movable everywhere. Okay, let's go to the D shape.
So here's a cool little lick there. So this is now in the D shape, so we're moving up from this E form, and now we're going into this shape. So we've got triad there, 3rd, 5th root, then we've got our arpeggio, root 3/5, there's our D shape, and there's the chord. this lick now, we're going to slide into the flat 7. Sorry, we're going to slide into the flat 7, and then so that's on the 6th fret of the B. Then we're going to play the 5th fret again, 7/5 on the G, and then we're going to tug down on this 8th fret of the D string. This is our minor third, so we're mixing a bit of major and minor pentatonic. Minor third of the tonic, and then there's our root. Now we're grabbing our root with the first finger, so we've moved it at this position, and we're grabbing the same notes now in this position. Here's our major scale. Arpeggio. Triads. So that lick again, into the flat 7, dropping back to the 5th fret, to the root. Then we're going to go, this is the flat 7 now on the A string, 8th fret. So we're going to go 8, 7, 5. And then when we grab the C here, our major third is behind it. So we're going to hammer into that major third, 6 to 7 on the low E, and then grab the root with our first finger. It's good to get used to doing licks in that position because it links up these two chord shapes. So this lick here, we can do that exact same lick out of the C4, same note.
All right, let's move to the C shape. Here's a fun one. Just a nice little.
So this is a pretty cute little lick. So again, there's the chord shape in this position, and we've got our major scale, our arpeggio, and what he's doing is outlining the notes of the arpeggio, so the chord, but he's coming into them from the note of the major scale we're in before he gets the chord tone. So for example, here's the major third of our G, but he's coming in from half a step down, which is in our scale, and then he goes to the root, but he uses this note to get to the root, then to the 5, then we're going into the major third from the 10th fret on the D, and then 7th fret over to the root. Pretty simple lick, but it sounds really nice. So we're emphasising them chord tones. And now we play some pretty groovy licks in that area, which I'll break down.
I use that in like a, you could use that in like a country shuffle. You could use that in a lot of different ways. But here's the C shape. So basically I'm just outlining every single note of that chord.
So this is a nice lick. Guthrie, he slides into the major third D string into the 9th fret. Then he grabs the 5, so this is our triad. Then he walks down chromatically on the D back to the 7th fret. And then we're thinking D, so he comes into this D triad on the G and the B strings, sliding into the major third and the 5th of D. And then he comes back, same way he came, resolving back up to G. So I did a lesson a while back with these little double stops in that you should go and check out. In fact, I'll put it in a link below because I cover these things. So that lick again. So that you could think of this as D. And then we're going to come back. Sorry. C. Resolving back to G. Nice.
You could stop on the third, that's even cooler. That's it.
So again, he incorporates another cool little melody into this lick. But he stops on the major third. Then he grabs the root on the B string on the 8th fret. And then he does these sixths, which I've also done a lesson on if you look back. Sliding into the 12th fret on both strings. And then he takes that into D. So from this 12th fret, this 6th, we're going to take the B string, drop it down to the 5 of D. There's our D triad, our D chord. So we drop down to that 5, then up the triad, then just slide back, and then back into our G, resolving. So I'll play that lick slowly. Forgot to put that in on the last lick with the double stops. He comes back up, he goes. Hammering in 5 to 7 on the A. So major pentatonic. Finishing on G.
Okay, let's go to the A shape. This is my 5 minor over the 1 idea, right? So I'm thinking D minor over G. So D minor arpeggio, resolve into that major third of G. Cool as shit. Up.
Right, so this is really nice. So we're in the A form, we're in the A position of G. But we can use our 5 minor over it, which means we can play D minor lines over G, which gives you a nice cool sort of sound. So the 5 chord of G major is D7. We can swap the D7 for a D minor. Now if you look at G9 up off the 10th fret, you can see that the top portion of it is a D minor triad. So that's why we can superimpose these ideas over G. If there is more to it than that, please let me know, but it sounds great. So let's look at this lick. So up a D minor arpeggio from the 5, so 5, major third, minor third, to the root. Then we drop that down to the 10th fret, so it's, and then that resolves to the major third of G. That's why it sounds cool. And then he plays it the other way around from the root, minor third, 5th to the 13th fret. So this could be, it's the flat 7, and it resolves right there, 12th fret of the B string. Again, that's the major third of D. So you're looking at this D minor 7 over G. So you can see this part is the same. We're just, the only thing that changes is that major third. right into G.
Up the arpeggio. Same notes, right? Out of the A shape. I hope that sparks some ideas because that's super cool. And then out of the G shape, let's try this. A nice little country bend. Here's the first part.
So a nice little lick out of, so the G form is here for G. And you can also look at this as your major pentatonic bow. Or E minor pentatonic, which would be your relative. So we're going to do this cool country style bend. We're going to pick the high E and B on the 15th fret. And then we push up the 14th fret of the G. And that takes us into the major third back in this E form position here. So you're basically playing your root, your fifth and your major third by doing this move. We're just pushing into that third. Back to the root, 14, 12 on the D. Then grabbing the 15th fret of the A string, which puts us sliding into that major third again. Which is what we've been doing across the board with these licks. You could grab that major third with your first finger and it puts you back into the E form, back into this shape. I suggest whenever you get a major third, try it coming in on different fingers to put you this side of the third and that side. For example, in this position, that's going that way. And then we can do it with our first finger, puts us in the C shape. So it's a good idea, like this first position, there it puts you in that root there, or the root at the top. Explore different ways of landing the major third just by grabbing, landing the root by grabbing the major third with a different finger. You can go behind this way, or it's going to put you in another shape. You're always going to find a chord shape. So I hope that stuff helps. Please let me know what you think of this video. Your comments and your feedback mean a lot and it helps me choose new things to do. I want to keep kind of everybody happy with this stuff. I'll put a link to this full video down below. Check out Guthrie's courses, they're amazing. I walk through many students through his courses, beginning to end, going through parts, and you know, they're helping my students a lot. And I'll put a link to his channel as well down below. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in a couple of days. See ya.